I also have me Andrew Latham. Andrew, I would like to understand the American perspective on Pakistan. Also the fact that how it's a little confounding that Pakistan has been able to successfully portray itself as a victim of terrorism, but not a terrorist nation, which it actually is.
Well, first of all, there is no American perspective, and that's been highlighted here that Republicans and MAGA Republicans are taking a very different view of the subcontinent than, say, progressive Democrats. But there are some continuities, and in any case, we have to look at who's in power and how they understand American national interests and security interests. That's the realpolitik model that my colleague referenced earlier. And this administration definitely sees the world not as a single planetary entity, but as a number of regional balances of power, as it were. One is the Indo-Pacific, one is the greater Middle East, and it is looking to secure the allegiances of great middle powers, important powers in both of those regions. And if you look at the Indo-Pacific, well, the Indo part gives it away. They're looking to seduce India into joining Team America. And they have had some success on the economic front and on the geopolitical front. It's not a done deal. There's a phenomenon known as multi-alignment, which is at play here. Sometimes countries will be on Team USA, sometimes Team China, sometimes just doing their own thing. But the United States, under this administration, is very interested in courting and seducing Delhi and bringing it onto Team USA. Whether it's successful or not remains to be seen. Now let's look at the Middle East. I think they're mistaken here. But once again, they see Pakistan as a key strategic player. It used to be vis-a-vis Afghanistan. It used to be in the context of the Cold War something different. Didn't quite work out for the US. But anyway, these days it is containing, blunting, checking Iran. Now, the last time I checked, Israel has done a pretty good job of that. I don't see Iran as a major contender for regional hegemon, but I think the people in the White House and the Pentagon at the top levels do see it that way. And so they're courting Pakistan as well. They want Pakistan on Team USA, and certainly not on Team PRC, the Chinese team. That's their big fear, and Pakistan has been drifting in that direction. That, more than the terrorist issue, is what pops for Americans. That Pakistan is drifting in the direction of closer geopolitical and economic relations with China, and the United States doesn't want that to happen. Here's the problem, as people have alluded already. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I don't think the United States can manage a relationship on the subcontinent in which they treat both of these countries as equal partners with each other and ignore the tensions, historical tensions, going back at least to the founding of the two countries in the post-World War II era. Those are very difficult to manage, whether it's the nuclear issue, whether it's TRF and the various sort of terrorist components to this equation. I don't think this administration is not known for its deftness and its agility and its foresight and its prudence or any of those good virtues. I'm not sure that they can, even if they succeed in seducing Pakistan and succeed in building this relationship with India, how do you sustain and maintain that given the frictions between those two players over time? I don't think they've thought that through. I think they do think they can have their cake and eat it too. And if there's one thing I've learned from studying human history, you really can't have your cake and eat it too.
But Andrew, also, let's take a look at the history of India and Pakistan, the creation of Pakistan 1947. The British have always had vested interests in Pakistan as, a leverage to use against India time and again, and we continue to see that sort of, patronage that Pakistan receives from Britain, and America too has been doing that. First of all, there was the huge issue with regards to terrorism in Afghanistan, which is a failed state, and Pakistan had continued to support United States of America. And here again we see that America would like to use Pakistan for its own good, but at the same time be duplicitous in its approach regarding what it deems as terrorism versus what it does not. So something that is in the interest of America, for example, of course, Pakistan is now going to bend over backwards and allow for terrorists to be captured and handed over to America, which is the ISIS Khorasan, which is the main focus of America right now. But at the same time, spread these lies, peddle these lies. The Lashkar-e-Toiba is completely defunct. We know for a fact that Hafiz Saeed, who is the founder of Lashkar-e-Toiba, continues to reside in Pakistan. And in fact, an example, some time ago, Osama bin Laden, who was inhabiting a place called Abbottabad, which is just about 2 hours from the Rawalpindi military headquarters of Pakistan, and Pakistan was feigning ignorance, saying we don't even know that Osama bin Laden was holed in there for years together. So, and of course, then the American operation that hunted Osama down and shot him and killed him. So how do you view this entire global fight against terrorism playing out, where each country has vested interests, is looking out for its own interests, and like you said, somehow it does not fit well, because if America is looking to have relationship with India, it cannot have a selective view, a myopic view of the situation as a whole.
Well, mercifully, to go to the first prefatory comment you made, mercifully, the Brits are no longer a global power and have nothing to do with anything anymore. They can barely hold their own country together, says the guy that was born there. Secondly, I am not, like all of the other people we've heard from today, convinced in the least that the rhetoric coming out of Pakistan is anything but a kind of theater, diplomatic theatrics. I don't think there's a real pivot taking place away from supporting groups which see Jammu and Kashmir as an integral, all of it as an integral part of Pakistan rather than part of India, or the way the line of control works today, all of that. So those two things are going on. And the final thing is, with all due respect to the ambassador, what do you expect statesmen, to use an old-fashioned term, to do? How do you know statesmen are lying? Well, their lips are moving. It's an old and somewhat trite truism, but it's a truism nonetheless, and it's a truism for a reason. Whatever the powers that be decide in a country is in their national interest, and how they're going to pursue that national interest. The diplomats of that country, if they're responsible, are going to advance that project, and they're going to say what needs to be said. And they will say different things, in my experience. They will say different things in different settings to different audiences and different people. There's nothing immoral about that. That is the nature of realpolitik. That is the nature of the way foreign policy is made and executed around the world. All countries do it. And so it doesn't surprise me that at this moment, the United States is making noises to the effect that Pakistan is not implicated in these terrorist acts. It knows full well that they are, but it's willing to turn a blind eye because of what it sees, it perceives to be a bigger strategic interest, which is blunting and containing Iran. I think it's a silly mistake, but you can see why the administration's spokespeople have to say certain things in order to try to make this, to try to balance these two powers within this construct of Team USA geopolitically.